So another favorite of mine when it comes to the reloading process is priming brass, because who doesn't like fresh prime brass? This is brand new Starland brass. And as you saw earlier, I just flared these case mounts, so I'm priming them. You can go the other way, just make sure you don't throw powder in it with basically unflared case mounts, because it really sucks having to dump powder out. And like I said, guys, I've definitely made that mistake a few times when I get in a rush. You shouldn't get in a rush when you're reloading, so just an FYI. But I like using this method if I'm just making some quick loads. Just also note with primers, if you're touching them with your bare hands, you want to make sure to wash your hands before and dry them thoroughly. You don't want to have a bunch of greasy oils on these guys. And all I simply use is just a coffee lid from, I can't even remember the name of the coffee, but just use a coffee lid. You can throw your primers in there. And this is like a Lee Ram Prime, if I remember what it's called. I got it for 20 bucks, so pretty affordable. And you can use a priming tool too, or prime on the press. I don't like priming on the press just because when you decap those spent primers, there's a lot of grit and disgusting stuff that comes out. So I really don't like running a fresh primer in a ram through that same hole nasty primers have fallen out of. So I like using this method, especially if I'm just making some quick loads. And all this, how this works is pretty simple. You just got a stem and you put your primer on it, and you use your shell holder from your die kit, and you simply slide the shell on and you run this up through and it'll prime it. And also don't be in a rush when you're doing this. You don't want to just ram this thing as fast as you can, because I mean, you don't want a primer explosion, right? So you just take your time, and you can kind of go by feel. And as you're going up, you can kind of feel a little resistance, and then it kind of, you have a stopping point is probably the best way I can describe it. And then you release it, you pull your shell off, and you check it out, rub your finger over it, make sure it's flat, and it's that simple. So I'll do one so you guys can see. What I like to do is I run this ram all the way up to here. What I do is I take a brand new primer, and also you want to make sure you put it on the right side. You want this side on the bottom, because if you think of it logically, when you put this on here, you want it to seat in like that. If you put it backwards, you're going to screw it up, and it's not going to fire the round, obviously. I've honestly never made that mistake, so I don't know what would happen. But anyways, all you do is you lower that slightly, just so you can slide your cartridge case on it. Also want to double check, make sure you didn't prime it. That's why organization is very important in reloading. Once I prime a shell, I put it in a different position. So I'm putting it in this little basket there, and I have my unprimed one sitting over here. So if that helps anyone, you just have to kind of use some common sense and think outside the box a little bit on terms of reloading and being safe and organizing. So then I'm going to raise this back out so you can kind of see a little bit. Okay, I felt kind of like a wall. So I'm going to back this out. See, the primer's not on the stem. We'll pull this guy out. Beautiful. Run your finger over it. It's flush at least, if not lower. We're good to go.